What's up, everybody? BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you today. Kind of wanted to follow up today with what we were talking about last Friday. You haven't heard, I did buy a PS5, and I was able to actually get my hands on one, and I'm very happy that I was able to do so, because I've gotten a chance to play with it over the weekend and absolutely have enjoyed the shiza out of it. But it kind of got me thinking if it's really something that's worth maybe the investment in trying to get right now. So just to kind of start things off, I did want to say it was a little bit of a struggle to actually get this. I've been following a bunch of dudes on Twitter that I wouldn't normally follow, one of which is at Wario64. He was the one that I actually saw the announcement that apparently Best Buy was going to have PS5s readily available. You just had to be ready at the website. So this was actually the first that I had heard from it, which kind of disappoints me. Like, you would think that Best Buy would be telling people, because I work there, if you don't know. We're supposed to tell people to go to the website, hit the save for later button, and we'll notify you when we're going to get more in stock so you can come in and purchase. Well, I did that with both the PS5 and the Xbox One Series X, and I haven't heard diddly poo poo from Best Buy on any of it. But I did manage to see this guy tweeted out that rumor roared on the street was Best Buy was going to have them one day. Just happened to be perfect timing because I had the day off, so I jumped on the website. It took me a good probably 90 minutes sitting there hitting refresh until it popped up, gave me the chance to add it to the cart. Once I was able to initially try that add to the cart, it was just a moment of waiting for it to pop up and let me know that I actually got one. So all in all, it was about 90 minutes worth of sitting there refreshing, and then finally I was able to make the purchase. Clearly I wasn't able to pick it that day. It was one of those things where I had to wait. I think it was like 8 days or something. So it wasn't too long, but I did have to wait for them to come into stock. I think they probably are at the warehouse. Get to the warehouse. The warehouse lets the stores know that they're in, and then everybody can rush for the good of it. So I'm curious if this Wario64 has a friend on the inside at the warehouses and stuff. That's how he was able to hear before everybody else. But I was able to snag one. Cost $529 to be exact. It's $499.99 plus tax. I live in the state of Michigan, so my tax is only like 6%. It was an extra $30. Turned out to be $529.98 technically. Was the price. So it was it actually wasn't that expensive considering the PS3 was also $600 when it first came out. So relatively, now I think the PS4 was significantly less. I think that came out at maybe $350. So considering it was kind of high with PS3, and then it went lower with PS4, and then it went back up to kind of that PS3. I can see why people would be discouraged by that, but to be honest with you, the investment in the actual product, especially if you want to go with the cheaper end one, they do have one for $500 instead of $600, or $400 instead of $500, or whatever it happens to be, the one without the disc. I got the one with the disc because I still got a bunch of PS4 games that were supposed to be backwards compatible with, and so I wanted to get the disc along with it. This way, I also have a 4K player, because it does do 4K, 8K gaming, which I don't think there is any 8K gaming just yet on console. If you've heard of it, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to check out what an 8K game looks like. That would be surreal. But it's a pretty cheap investment in my opinion, if you're looking at the $500 one. Considering the 4K player that you get, the Blu-ray player that you get with it. It is a monster of a size. I had to find a place to put it. It's about the same size as my gaming desktop. My Alienware and the PS5 are almost identical in size, so it is kind of a big piece. Kind of gaudy looking in my opinion. I don't think it's very pretty looking. Hopefully I can snag I don't want to spend too much money on it because it's just the box. But if I can find one for on the cheap, maybe I get a cool like special edition outside box, like the Spider-Man one or something. If I can find it on it, but the base unit kind of looks ugly in my opinion. Not gonna lie. The all-white controller kind of makes me nervous because I sweat a lot when I play, so I think it's gonna get dirty real quick, which is kind of a bummer. But it is what it is. In terms of actual use, it runs phenomenally. So we'll get into the next part. It is $600. There's virtually no games for it. You do get Worms when you first log in. Worms is a game, not a 4K, 60 FPS game that they give to you. That was made specifically for the PS5 to show you kind of how good it can run at 60 FPS. So they give you that game. Then if you happen to be a PS Plus subscriber, PlayStation Plus subscriber, the current game for PS5 is Maneater. So it's like a $40, $50 game. Right off the bat, you get for free, plus they give you Worms. You get about 70 bucks worth of video games off the top, if you want to look at it that way. Maneater's pretty fun. I'll have my initial review of it out in a little bit. But I wanted to get this out there in case you guys were kind of looking. So the bigger edition, if you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, is the PS Plus collection. You get God of War, you get Bloodborne, you get The Last of Us Remastered, Mortal Kombat 10, Final Fantasy 15. What else? Fallout 4 is on there. Shoot, there was a couple that were on there that I was like, oh, that'd be a good one to have. Batman Arkham Asylum is on there. That's a good one to have. These are free to add to your library, is how I did it. I actually added it to my library, as opposed to like PS Now, where I can kind of play them now. I stream them now until the other games come out or till their PS5 versions come out and I have to purchase them. No, these are added to my library, which is fantastic. So essentially, I mean, right there alone, Bloodborne, God of War, Last of Us Remastered, and Final Fantasy 15, even though those are all greatest hits outside of FF15, I still think they're all about 30 bucks a piece. FF15 might still be a full $50, I don't know. But again, if you're counting costs right off your bat, you're looking at 80 to 100 bucks worth of free video games on top of the probably $60-$70 worth of free games that we've already talked about in Maneater and Worms. So I mean, of that $500 that you're spending, you're getting $150 to almost $200 back worth in free games just for buying or being a PS Plus member. My opinion, if you're a PlayStation user, you're probably a PS Plus member because you want the online community. So my guess is you probably had it from the year before. All you got to do is log into your PS5. You're not really having to like re-sign up for an additional year, so it's not costing you that 60 bucks to get the stuff. You just kind of get it. So I'm gonna chalk it up, and if you don't have any of them, you're looking at about $200 worth of free games, just to go along with the $500 purchase. So mathematically speaking, you're really only about $300 in investment. So you're back down to that PS4 level. So again, I don't necessarily think that it's like the monetary investment would be a reason to dissuade you. Now I know during the pandemic a lot of people might not have $600 just lying around, but if you do, I wouldn't worry about the $600 being the reason not to get this guy. Speaking of the discs and the PS4 games, I've played Final Fantasy VII Remake on here. It looks and runs phenomenally well. I've also tried out the discs. So the cool thing, we tried out the discs with Borderlands 3. I did not know this was going to be a thing, but if some of the games, if you buy them when you bought them on Xbox One or PS4, you paid the extra $20. You got the upgrade version, so you could get the PS5 version later. Well, I don't know if maybe Borderlands 3 just didn't do very well, and whoever it is, 2K is trying to make up their money. I got a free upgrade because of it to the PS5 version. Now, originally I had heard that the upgrades only worked with the digital download copies because that's how they would know that you actually owned that copy. But apparently, if you keep the disc and you use the disc, I still have to go through the disc, but I have the PS5 version of Borderlands 3 as opposed to the PS4. So again, if we're talking monetary issues, that's another $20 value right there, for no charge at all. I haven't got a chance to see if any of the other games do that yet, because I don't think there was one for Death Stranding. I don't think there was one for God of War type of thing. So it you know, I've only gotten a chance to try it with Borderlands 3, but that was a pleasant surprise. And like I said, Final Fantasy VII remake ran phenomenally well. I've also tested out The Last of Us 2, works and runs really well. And if we do get up into the PS5 stuff, that Maneater again looked and ran beautifully. The one thing that I haven't gotten a chance to try yet, mostly because my wife doesn't have a PS Plus account because we usually play on Xbox together, I haven't gotten to try out the PS5 PS4 compatibility yet, so that's still kind of in the wings. If it works like it's supposed to, it'll definitely make it worth it as well too, because then if you get one and all your friends only have PS4, you can still play with your friends on PS4 even though you have the better machine. That way you don't have to worry about the load times and all the kind of the waiting around as the game loads. The lag is like almost non-existent. You'll be in the library and you'll be in the lobbies before all your friends will. It's phenomenally smooth and runs fantastic. As far as the user face goes itself, I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more revolutionary than it actually was, but I mean it is kind of nice. It runs very smooth. It kind of separates games and media, so you can kind of like, you have your gaming machine and then you have your media machine. So it is kind of nice how it works on the two levels. I'm not accidentally opening up a bunch of apps like Netflix or YouTube when I mean to go to different games and stuff. And the controller is compatible with the USB-C, which is kind of nice because it's faster charging. So if you're like me and you play a lot and you end up having to charge your controller quite a bit, it doesn't take as long to control or to power up, which is kind of nice. The thing I have with it is there's a voice, and it must be for the visually impaired, but I'm not sure why a visually impaired person would be playing a PS5. But it tells you every time you highlight over something on the user interface screen, it tells you, there's a voice that says Final Fantasy VII Remake, The Last of Us 2, God of War, whatever you happen to be scrolling over. Even like profile settings, log out, sign in, like it tells you everything. And there's got to be a way to turn it off. I just haven't figured it out yet, because it does kind of get a little bit annoying after a certain time. The other downfall that I would say is there's no themes on it yet. So like your background is always kind of changing depending on what you played last, when you logged in, what updates it does, like what news comes out during the time off, if you will. I don't really like that. I'm kind of a themes guy. I've got a couple of themes on my PS4 that I really liked from The Last of Us 2 and from Final Fantasy VII Remake. I would kind of like them to go back to that if at all possible. But the truth is that the user interface looks really nice. It's really smooth. Outside of the voice, it actually doesn't bother me all that much, and it's pretty nice to look at. Kind of a modern take on the PS3 user face, where it's the little bubbles, kind of like iPhone applications, instead of the big old honking squares like it was on the PS4. Looks a little bit nicer, a little bit more modern, in my opinion. So they did a nice job with the user interface. So to kind of wrap it all up here, I'm overall very, very happy with my purchase. But it's hard for me to say that it is something that you should definitely jump into now, just because there is that lack of game log, if you will. If you're idea is more of like a solo player, and you haven't played any of these PlayStation Plus collection games that are on there, absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth the 90 minutes it took me to wait around and get a chance to pick it up. Because it does, like, I mean, it really drives up the value for, again, what I consider a pretty small investment overall, especially considering even desktop computers nowadays are starting at $1,200–1,300. So the initial investment, I think, is definitely worth it. What'll really kind of tell the test of time, in my opinion, is if this PS Plus collection is a temporary thing. Now, my expectation is to they'll kind of keep it going for the longevity of at least the pandemic, and then if you haven't upgraded to a PS5 by then, maybe they stop giving them away. But it does look like they're going to kind of keep going for a little while. I was concerned with it. I really wanted those games, so I wanted to jump in quick. I think if you're concerned like I am, it's definitely worth jumping into. I am overall very, very happy with this purchase, and I think I'm going to like it a lot, to be honest with you. But if it's something where you own most of those games already, even if they are on disc as opposed to digital download, and you don't really care about all the fancy smancy computer tech knowledge, so the upgraded graphics, the upgraded RAM, that kind of thing. If you're pretty satisfied with how the PS4 runs and looks right now, there's really no reason to jump into it right now. You know, the game collection. Wait for the backlog to kind of fill up a little bit. I mean, even Cyberpunk, even their their next gen update is pushed back to like the middle of the year, second half of the year, something like that. So even the new games are kind of slowly making their way out. A little bit easier games like like Madden and stuff like that, where it's just a physical like 60 FPS patch as opposed to a real overhaul like some of these other games. But I have been very happy with the purchase so far. So I would say I wouldn't go out of my way. I wouldn't bend over backwards to get one. But if you happen to be like me, you get lucky, you happen to be at the right place at the right time, definitely worth the investment. I think. So let me know what you guys think. If you got one, let me know what you like about it. If you haven't got one, let me know if you're going to wait for it or not. I'm generally kind of interested to hear what you guys think on this. But either way, that's going to do it for this one. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell. Head on over to Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow me over there at BigSweetC. That's going to do it for this one, BigSweetC. That's me, wishing YouTube that's you. Wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. Long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.